Is going to be starting it off against Bryon Smith. Dan Maclelland from Windsor, Ontario, Canada, now out of Montreal.
The number 3 qualifier made 3 TV appearances last season and finished in the top 10 in earnings and average, representing Canada. Dan the Man, Dan Maclelland.
For each of these final 4 bowlers, there's an interesting story attached to each. I think in Maclelland's case, what's interesting is he has never won a PBA Tour title. So he is trying to put away his first title win here at the Masters, and there have not been many who have done that. And we are underway. That's the way you want to start.
Hey, Gary, Dan Maclelland really made a name for himself at last year's World Series of Bowling, and I predicted then great things for that young man, and I'm just glad he's making me look good.
If he moves on up the ladder, he'll look. It'll look real good. Here's Bryon Smith from Roseburg, Oregon. Right on the button.
Take a look at Bryon Smith's arsenal. He's going with a crossroad. It's a middle of the road for him in terms of strength, and you're talking equipment.
What's interesting is this is the former Masters winner, but is now just part-time on the tour, as he's back home running a bowling alley, and he won the Masters in 2003, and now is trying to repeat. That also has not been done very often. Keeps doing that, he'll have another.
Yeah, I remember that day vividly when Bryon Smith won his first ever career title, the 2003 Masters. And boy, it was just a wonderful, wonderful day. And I know it was obviously a big deal for Bryon Smith.
On television.
Reno, Nevada was the site in 2003 when he put that one away. You can see Walter Ray Williams, the man who had to watch. And they are on to start here as Maclelland's got another strike.
Big deal to beat Walter Ray Williams Jr., bigger deal to do it at a major.
We will note early how far to the side these bowlers are going here on these lanes. Take a look at the arsenal here for Dan Maclelland.
Take time. Come on.
Dan's going with the strongest piece of equipment in his arsenal. And it's interesting because he has a lot more hand, a higher rev rate than Bryon Smith, but he's going with a stronger ball.
Yeah. Boy, they got the perfect break point for both of these bowlers to start. All strikes.
And Chris Barnes predicted last night when he spoke with us, Gary, that the scores are going to be fairly high, and so far it's holding true.
And that just keeps the pressure on. 9th TV final appearance. First one coming in 04 in the Tucson Open for Bryon Smith. Since 04 for him, it's the last time on TV. Wow. I mean, they have really found the grooves.
Well, you know, you alluded to it earlier about the practice that the players got. They got a half-hour practice before starting. And I think the USBC did a great job with this oil pattern. We'll get into that in just a few minutes. But the players are playing farther right than we've seen in a long time, and that's due to the oil pattern that was chosen for this event. All the players are playing in the same area. So when you throw enough bowling balls in the same spot, guess what happens? You start to create friction, and friction is a professional bowler's best friend, especially to the right.
That ought to come early, right? Because everybody's going in the same direction here.
Absolutely. So now it's just a matter of staying ahead of the transition.
Bryon Smith after another X. Not this time in a tough split.
Slow.
4, 6, 7, 10 here. This will be tough. Here's the oil pattern we were talking about.
And again, kudos to the USBC. This is just a great oil pattern, 40 feet in length. As you see Bryon trying to attempt to convert the Big Four, which has only been converted once on television by Walter A. Williams Jr., of course. But again, getting back to the oil pattern, you know, we're used to seeing the players play third, fourth, fifth arrow every week. This is old school. This is, you know, you see the players out around first arrow. I mean, I get excited. It's like back in my day.
Bring that ball back in. All right, here's a great chance now for Maclelland with that open frame.
And so there's the difference, Gary. You set it up perfectly. Here's a great chance for Maclelland. Bryon Smith went through the nose. He went high. Said he got a little soft. Maybe the lane's breaking down. The ball's starting to grab the lane a little early. Same thing happened right there with Maclelland. The big difference, a little more ball speed for Maclelland. He leaves just a 4-pin. Bryon Smith, the big 4 split.
And with the spare, and he's got it. So a chance to do a little more on that for Maclelland that he wasn't quite able to take advantage of.
Absolutely, but 9 spare when your ball goes high. You know, he avoids the big split and no open frame, and it's a 17-pin lead for him through 4.
Interesting, you see that he went 8-1 in match play, and he is the 3rd seed. He had to come out of the losers bracket. He bowled more here this week than any of the other 3 who are in this Final 4. I mean, he has rolled a lot of balls in order to get here, and it's very tough to come out of that losers bracket and make it.
Good shot.
And he found the break point. He got back on it.
Yeah, Dan Maclelland spent an eternity in the losers bracket, but what he did when he got there was quite impressive when he won 7 straight. A big high backswing, great hand at the bottom, and he's showing you his versatility of being able to not only hook it, but he's able to go straight as well.
Maclelland all strikes in that lane on the left. Sit down and watch here. And Bryon Smith needs to put the X's back in and not have another open frame.
Boy, and it never fails. You follow up a big, ugly split like that with a great shot, only to leave a ringing 10. Bryon, as you alluded to, he's a proprietor now in Oregon. He says he's only bowling about 2 leagues a week and not always bowling that. So win or lose here, Gary, he's had a great week.
They're pretty amazing. The other 3 are bowling full-time professionals, while for Bryon Smith, it's really a half-time. If he can make the top, what a story that would be. You see 305 total entries to start, cut to 77, 5 qualifying games, 63. Tom Hester, defending champion, amongst those. Double elimination, and then the top 4 advance to our stepladder finals, which is where we are right now. Bryon Smith finds the break point. That's what we talk about in adjustments. As these lanes change up with the oil, you got to find the spot where you want that ball to be breaking back in. Maclelland's got the great start, and he's liking that lane on the left where the strikes have come. So far, so good for him against Bryon Smith. 2 of the Final 4 here at the Masters. Liquid Gels USBC Masters is brought to you by Alka Selzer Plus. Alka Selzer Plus Liquid Gels provide more complete cold relief than NyQuil. By Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. By Barbasol. Start your day cool with a new Arctic Chill shaving cream from Barbasol. Better buy Barbasol. And by the USBC and its 2 million members. To find out more about USBC, log on to bowl.com today. Absolutely beautiful day here in the ever popular Las Vegas, and just down the road, a suburb not very far from the center of the Strip, Sunset Station here in Henderson, Nevada. We are at the strike zone, which is where the Masters is taking place, and that's the trophy that our 4 bowlers are after as we welcome you back, and a good start for the 3 and 4. And what a traumatic last few years it has been for Bryon Smith. You talk about emotion. Listen to him as we talked with him yesterday.
Life's crazy, man.
That's right. Take time.
Yeah, life's crazy. You know, with my wife's health issues, we ended up you know, having a couple kids now, and now that's my life.
And he is just that emotional. That is his wife, Mariah, who is here, who has battled lupus. They had a very difficult time trying to have children. They now have 2.5-year-old twins. And so for him, a lot of deep breaths have been taken. Went back home, opened the bowling alley. That's his work now. He does this, as we said, part-time in the professional tour. And so for him, this is a very big emotional event.
It really is, and it's just a great story, a great family.
Maclelland.
Baby, come on!
Boy, is he on.
Remember I said earlier about this Dan Maclelland guy, and I expect
You're going to keep saying that, aren't you?
Well, you know, I have to beat that dead horse. I asked, we asked him last night, he says, Dan, what do you need to do to get over the hump? Because he has yet to win a match on television. He said, he says, I respect all the players out here. He says, but I fear none. He thinks that he showed them a little too much respect at last year's World Series of Bowling. He says, you know what, it's time for them to start thinking about Dan Maclelland.
And he means it. You see a little wow was his reaction to that. That's not where he thought that ball was going to go.
Well, watch this. As you see the profile high backswing of Dan Maclelland, watch the down lane reaction right here, Gary. This ball never picks up. And Dan, very fortunate to only leave the 248 without the 10-pin standing.
Only the second frame in which he has not had a strike. And that is going to come back door and miss the front.
Yeah, the back ends look like they've gotten a little tighter. The oil's carrying down the lane. That ball never hooks up. And now a huge, huge opening for Bryon Smith with a strike here in the 7th frame. He can tie the match.
This is actually what we were talking about with Maclelland yesterday when he said the reason he loves match play when you go head-to-head is you always have a chance to come back. Well, now it's Bryon Smith who's got the opportunity to come back as he's recorded 4 strikes, working on 1 here. He got it.
Tie ball game, folks. Mariah knows the scoreboard. Another strike here in the 8th frame. He takes the lead by 10, but Bryon Smith, even though he's not a full-time player anymore, he was a full-time player on this tour for a long time. Great player. He is in his wheelhouse in terms of the shot that he's playing, that straight up 5-6 shot. Nice soft hand at the bottom. This kid still has a lot of game, and he's showing it right now. Big frame coming up.
Break. Got it.
And just like that, Bryon Smith has taken the lead when it looked like Dan Maclelland was going to run away and hide.
He has the lowest revolution rate of any of the 4 that we've got here. Precision bowler.
Well, definitely. I mean, he's not going to cross the same amount of boards as a Dan Maclelland, as a Mike Fagan, as a Chris Barnes. But on this oil pattern, you don't have to.
So now Maclelland is the one who's got to answer. A little too much of the head pin.
All of a sudden, you're
Where
like,
to go?
Yeah, what happened? What happened to Dan's reaction? Big wow on the left lane when he went light. He misses the spare, comes back and goes through the face on the right lane. And right now, Dan Maclelland has got to feel a little uneasy.
And he will get that one, but that's not what he wanted, to try and come back here and regain the lead in this match against Bryon Smith.
When you can really tell when things start to go south, you start sweating like you have malaria. It starts to get really hot out there. You have trouble breathing. You're not really sure what the next shot's going to do. So what you do is you step up, you make the best educated guess adjustment, and then commit to it.
Maclelland had strikes in 5 of his first 6 and unable to find one in the last 2. He got it back there.
That one just barely tickled. I mean, it barely got up and faced the 1-3. Let's see if Bryon Smith can seal the deal here, close him out in the 9th and 10th frame. He goes in light. Nice mixer. Bryon Smith can strike out and shoot 252. The best Dan Maclelland can shoot 232.
A chance for the number 4 seed to take this first match. He liked it. How about that?
Yeah, he just gave it the holding sign because he pulled it dead left out of his hand. I guarantee you when he let go of it, he was thinking, oh no, not another big 4. Now, a strike here, first ball in the 10th frame, and good count. Bryon Smith's going to advance and take on Mike Fagan.
Bryon Smith told us yesterday, said one of the reasons he's back doing the competitive bowling along with running his own lanes is I'm enjoying bowling again. I've gotten my life settled down a little bit so I can come out here and just enjoy bowling. And that seems to be what he's doing here today. His wife watching, a chance to advance. Yes, sir! How about that?
Well, this ball drifts just a pitch high. Bryon Smith puts a great touch on this right around the 8th board. Goes down to the knee, trips the 4-9 out. What a huge break, what a great break. And now he's just a few pins away from advancing. All he has to do is keep it on the lane.
His hair is standing up more than when he started. Gonna stand up more if he gets one here. Oh, yeah. Congratulations to Bryon Smith, who's going to advance over Dan Maclelland. He started in this match behind as Maclelland came out along with Smith with strikes in the first 3, and then for Smith 4 and 5 left it open, but he came back and has gotten it done.
Well, Bryon Smith, even at age 38, even though he's not a full-time player, he still shows that he has plenty of maple moxie left.
There have been only 7 who have had multiple Masters wins. Bryon Smith's giving himself a chance winning this first match.